So I was loosely following the Blake Lively Justin Baldoni thing. I didn't really care about either one of them, but I kind of was paying attention to figure out who was the good guy and who was the bad guy in this thing. And it seems to me like they're both bad guys.
Justin, you're saying Justin and Blake are bad people?
They're like, I don't like either one of them. Like, when you watch something like that, it should be a definitive. Well, this guy did this, and then she did this, or she's saying this, and he did this. I haven't watched it very closely, but I don't like either one of them.
Well, I'm curious, not to interview you, but like, because that's fascinating to me. What was it about Justin specific? Because I know what everyone hates, but what was it about Justin that made you say that?
So he comes off as a little smarmy, and but he seemed also like I don't know. He just seems like somebody who's done this before, even though I don't feel like he did anything that bad. I don't feel like he certainly didn't do anything criminal or anything. But she's accusing him of being creepy, and I feel like he has some creepy aspects to him.
Interesting. Well, I thank you for sharing that. Look, I had no idea who this guy was. It was actually my wife who had known him through his Man Enough stuff, and she was actually impressed. It's like, look, this guy seems like he was a player, but is now sort of reversed course and like tried to fix his life. And so I paid attention when the accusation came, but I, like you, I was like, I don't know, I'm not going to trust this guy. But I can tell you, as someone now who has gone down the rabbit hole deeper than most, I'm actually doing a documentary about it. It's called It Ends with Justice. People can go look it up. Our trailer's out. But we actually have gone deep, talked to not only the influencers and people who've been involved in the case. Now I'm part of the case, but also the crew. Like, I spoke to the crew of the film, people who knew Justin. And I'm telling you, Mike, I really think Justin's being railroaded here. And I don't think he's that swarmy guy.
Probably.
I don't say that as some like paid shill, like Blake Lively's trying to make me.
Right.
I tell you that as someone who's like, when I covered the Depp trial, I went after the evidence. You know, I wasn't a super fan of Depp. I love him in his films, but I go by the evidence. And I'm telling you, there's not a lick of evidence that proves that. In fact, all the people I speak to who have known Justin or worked with Justin, they say, if anything, he's too nice, like in that annoying way where it's like, you just kind of get creeped out by like, he's too much. Like, all right, buddy, that's too much. In fact, I interviewed a guy who's like, I hated him at first. And then quickly I realized, oh no, wait, I'm angry because he's the type of guy I actually wish I was.
Yeah, he's that genuine. He's not used to being around nice guys. Yeah. So what is the biggest thing that he's being accused of? Because I don't see him. I don't know that he has gone over the line. I also think part of that is her just being kind of extra difficult.
Yeah, no, that is the $1 million question. What actually did he do? Like, and if you go through Blake's accusations, like, they're laughable. Like, I've had real attorneys on, the guy who sued Lizzo, who supported the dancers and like just got $1 million from Soulja Boy. This guy Ron Zambrano put it really eloquently. It's like, none of these allegations from Blake hold any water as sexual harassment. But when you team them all up together, that's then she can sort of imply a pattern. And so it's all these little slight microaggressions and moments that, you know, each one would be very debatable. Like, is that really worth a lawsuit? But she clearly went back and in my opinion, over exaggerated a lot of claims to make a greater claim that sounds more effective. But when you really go through it, there's no like, he touched me inappropriately or he said something really, like, nothing like that happened. There's no like assault or, you know, he tried to R her or anything like that. Sorry, I'm using YouTube terminology, probably the phone here. We can say what we want, but yeah, there's like a lot of it's become whispered down the lane where I think a lot of people think Justin's done something even worse, but he's never really been accused of anything but calling her sexy, asking how much she weighed. He's the director of the movie. He asked the trainer, he's got to lift her up. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
She's calling everybody sexy. She's saying, I like to bust balls, but never with teeth. Like, when you look at the exchanges, it's so clear she's in control. Like, when we talk about an abuse of power, Blake Lively is in control. It's wild. Because of Ryan and Blake, I can't get this documentary on any streamer.
Well,
like, they're all on it. They're all like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
but because I'm going to be critical of Ryan Reynolds, they're like, we can't afford to go against Ryan Reynolds.
You make this documentary. You did this all on your own?
Yeah, independently produced. And the fans have stepped up and helped us. We didn't really do a Kickstarter, but we have like investor funding where people buy shirts and they get their name in the credits. And we've had some other sort of just ghost donors who just developed fans who just like, I don't need credit. I want to make sure this gets made.
Yeah.
And so, no one's behind my back telling me what to do. And I'm not doing this for Justin. I'm doing this for what's the truth here.
For the story,
what are people saying? What's happening? And I will tell you that so far, unless anybody on Team Blake, please come forward. I will hear you out. I want to see the evidence and I want to see both sides. But I can't find a single person, Mike, to come and defend Blake. No, I haven't gotten a single person to do it. They all dislike her.
How did you gain access to the crew, folks? I mean, through your own channels, obviously, but they were willing to talk on record?
Yeah, I mean, we've reached out. I have a great producers, Kim, Michelle, shout out to them. They're amazing. And yeah, we started reaching out slowly but surely. And then eventually, because of our coverage and they saw that we were very neutral, I had a crew member reach out. An editor came forward. I can say she was an editor. She will let, and she's the one who showed her face. And she became such a fan of our reporting because we were doing it fairly that she's like, I've been wanting to speak out. I'm going to speak out to you. And I was honored. And I was like, okay, great. And once that happened, it sort of opened the door and we were able to show like, hey, this crew member has talked to us. They trusted us. We're not revealing them, blah, 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 blah. And then it snowballed. And then eventually, yeah, we got access to the crew list and we're able to really, reach out and, politely, respectfully. And I've spoken to dozens, Mike, of crew off and on the record.
Right.
And I will tell you just consensus, what Blake's saying happened absolutely did not happen. So
according to everybody, the story is consistent.
Yeah. Women, men, people who were on the set, both phases who came in, even Blake admits, because they were for a couple of weeks and then they went on a hiatus because of the strikes and things. When she came back, her own lawsuit admits it was smooth sailing for the bulk of the shoot. Nothing happened.
Right.
Why are we here? We're here because Blake got bad press over the summer.
Yeah.
She looked like a mean girl. She looked like a bitch, and she doesn't like that. And if she just apologized, there was like this journalist Shersty. She's amazing. She did an interview with Blake. You guys may have reported back in the day where your little bump, and it was kind of this weird thing that went super viral. Everyone agrees with me. If Blake had just apologized,
it'll go away.
Had some fun with that journalist and said, I was so mean. It was a bad day. Thank you. I wanted to bring you back. If she had just done that, all of this would have gone away. All this would have gone away. But the hubris of celebrities, a few, I'm sure, they don't like bad press. They don't like to be not liked.
No. That is absolutely true. And now, as a result of your documentary, you get served with a subpoena.
Literally, I'm in the news now.
It was you.
TMZ broke
Hilton.
it before anyone came to me to subpoena me, which
hilarious.
tells you something interesting, right? She's complaining that Justin's out there in the press retaliating, but she's leaking to TMZ and others that we're getting subpoenaed to get press for herself. Make it make sense.
What is the purpose in subpoenaing you? What do they want from you?
I don't know what they think they're going to get. They're not getting anything from me. But beyond that, I think they're trying to taint us. Like Candace Owens, Perez Hilton, myself are the three that were chosen.
Right.
And they're trying to imply we were in cahoots with them. Like clearly, like I've never been in cahoots with them. Never. I didn't. I've spoken to both sides for this documentary. I've spoken to Blake's side. I've spoken to Justin's side. I've spoken to sources in the middle. Like I've spoken to a lot of people, and I will protect those sources to the death of me because that's our journalistic integrity. That's our right. That's the freedom of the press. That's what TMZ and all these outlets are supposed to. They did during the Depp trial. They brought a lawyer in during the Depp trial to protect themselves. So to see TMZ like now try to shade other outlets, and like to do it for Blake,
right,
and imply we're pro Justin, the hypocrisy is through the roof. But yeah, they're accusing us of colluding, being part of this retaliation campaign, working with Justin's camp to make anti-Blake content, which couldn't be further from the truth.
That's great.
And I think now it's only exposing them, but I think they did it just to get the headlines.
Yeah.
So they could be out there and taint the waters to say, oh, Popcorn Planet, Candace, they're biased, they're paid for, they're crap. They do it politically too. It's the mainstream media really has become such a joke that they're so threatened by this. I saw it during the Depp trial. I think we talked about it.
And I've learned
our coverage was just running loops around the major press outlets on the Depp trial because we were honest and we didn't have a corporate overlord and someone paying that corporate overlord to tell us what to say. And so when you're independent like this, you really can tell the truth.
And how difficult this is going to be for you to sell this documentary now with Ryan Reynolds being so entrenched with Netflix and who knows what Blake Lively has with Paramount and with other studios. So yeah, that's going to be
even the lesser ones too. Yeah, I honestly I don't know, but we're releasing ourselves independently. All our funders, investors on our website. You can go to popcornplanet.com or itendswithjustice.com. You can become a member and we'll release it there first.
Yep.
So that way it's out and people who can want to pay to see it can see it. We're going to do it that way to try to rally some of the funds back because it's been expensive. But I want to prove we can do more than just YouTube, and because I've done a lot of really work I'm proud of, investigative work and documentaries and series over my time. I wanted to get back into more of a narrative and documentary storytelling. So I'm fine investing this because I think it's going to be a really nice piece to show people, hey, look, we can be objective. We can look at this fairly. We can be it looks slick.